Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So Dharmarajan said that it's raining very hard. Thank you for coming through the rain.
Lord Most High, our Heavenly Father, all our lives we dedicate to Thee. All our labors, all our joys and woes, all our pleasure, all our melody. Make us each a channel of Thy peace. When in darkness, guide us from above. Where there's sorrow, may we sow Thy joy. Where there's hatred, may we share Thy love.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
That's one of our favorite songs.
You know, we'll let you get settled and then we'll share something. Hello, everyone. Oh, nice to see you. You know, that song has special fondness for us because when Swamiji was first starting the work in Assisi, Italy, well, this was before even Assisi, when we were in a small part of northern Italy called near Lake Como. There were just a few of us, and Swami would ask us to come up and sing, and none of us really were in the choir or had practiced, but that was one of the songs we sang, the one you just did, Lord Most High, and I guess we weren't very good, because every time we sang it, Swami would announce to whoever had come for the satsang, he would say, "Now this is not our regular choir." To apologize for how bad we were. So you don't need to apologize, though. You were very, very good.
No, that was very good. Hello, Prasanna.
So we thought because we've just celebrated Guru Purnima, we thought we would talk a little bit about Guru-disciple relationship and who is the Guru and how can we be more in tune. And then if you have any questions, we'd be happy to answer them as well. Do you want to start or should I start?
You can start.
Okay. Really, you know, it says in the scriptures of India that in all the three worlds, the greatest blessing is to find a Satguru, find a true Guru and be accepted. And then the second greatest blessing is satsang, fellowship with like-minded people. And we're so fortunate that we have both of these blessings in our lives. And for Yoganandaji, his power in the world is something I think that there have been many great masters throughout the world history, people that have changed the lives and uplifted the consciousness of the great masses of people. Buddha, Christ, Lord Krishna, but Yoganandaji has come in our time, and as he tells us, he was during the Mahabharata, he was Arjuna, and so he was the disciple of Krishna. And that beautiful dialogue, which is the Bhagavad Gita, the Song of the Lord, is the dialogue between Master and Babaji Krishna. And so it has a very great significance for all of us who are drawn to the path of Kriya Yoga, to our line of gurus, Lahiri Mahashaya, Sri Yukteswar, of course Babaji, and our guru, Paramahansaji. And so our line of gurus have a great, one might say, a significance in the world that is, they have a world mission. There are many great saints and many great, great teachers and spiritual guides, but not to compare, not to say our team is the best team, but I think the role of our line of gurus, and then adding the great guru of the West, Jesus Christ, we can see that our line of gurus has a significance in the elevation of world consciousness. And now, at this time in history, where the world is going through great transitions of climate, of politics, of health, of violence and hostility, of confusion of values. Just as it says in the Gita, when darkness predominates, then the avatars come again and again. And I believe this is true of our masters. And so we can accept readily, I think, about the greatness of our masters. But then the question becomes smaller and more personal. What can we do to be better disciples of a great soul like Paramahansa Yoganandaji? And I think the first step that we all need to take is to go deep in the techniques, go deep in our practice of sadhana, in our practice of Kriya Yoga. If you have that initiation, if you don't have it yet, then by all means, rush to your nearest Kriya initiation and get that initiation. But really, that's where it starts. Kriya Yoga is more than a technique. It really is the grace of the masters that come to the sincere practitioner, and it shows us how little by little, gently, slowly, it's not like a big bolt of lightning out of the blue that shocks your nervous system, but it's the gradual redirecting of our life force, of the Kundalini, from the lower chakras that lead to materialistic involvement, and to gently over time feel that flow of energy directed up towards the centers of higher consciousness, and ultimately to the Kutastha, to the spiritual eye, where we rest. Now, I think the problem that comes to most of us in our practice of sadhana and of Kriya is that we have the sense that we are doing it with our will, with our effort. And it's so important to realize when we sit to meditate, tune into the grace of the gurus, offer them your loving devotion, and then say, guide me in my Kriya practice, guide me in my meditation, because only with your grace can I go deep in these techniques. So really, attunement to the guru starts with our sincere, regular, dedicated practice of the techniques. And that includes, of course, we need to touch on the energization exercises. I don't know if this is true in India, but in the West, people don't practice them as regularly. Students, new people who come, of course, lifetime disciples have taken up that practice. But it's harder for us to convince people in the West of the importance of the energization exercises, because they think, oh, it's just, running, calisthenics. But someone said something to me recently that I didn't know. In fact, it was Jayaji in India. He said he has found that people who do not practice the energization exercises are not able to do the higher Kriya initiations as well. And I was not aware of that, but it's very interesting. So the energization exercises are not simply physical exercises. They are a way of us tuning into a flow of energy, and particularly that area of the medulla. When you do the energization, we concentrate on energy coming in from, at that point, the medulla. And then when you sit to meditate, you really can be aware of the confluence of energy at that medulla, which is the seat of the ego. And then we become aware of being able more and more to surrender that energy that adheres to the sense of egoic self-identity, and to surrender it up to the Guru. And so the energization exercises help us to become aware of the energy first in the body and then in the subtle body, where the chakra, the Agya chakra, is located at the medulla. So begin to be in tune, begin with the techniques, but that's just the beginning. Then we need to try to understand and study the Guru's teachings, and Master and Swamiji have left us with such a great wealth of writings, beautiful, beautiful writings. Any one of their books. If Swami had only written the essence of the Bhagavad Gita, or if he had only written Conversations with Yogananda, or only The New Path, or only Essence of Self-Realization. But he's written all of these, and the Art and Science of Raja Yoga. And so we have so much to learn from and study. And so often people tell me, and of course Master giving us the great autobiography of a yogi, which really is a living, conscious, it's more than just words printed on paper. It's a living consciousness that we can tap into, that we can ask questions of, that we can draw guidance from. So study and read these books, and the more you read them, even the simplest one, the more you will just get so much out of it. The other day, Jyotish and I had to make a journey in the car. We had some errands to do in a town that was about 2 hours away. And we just listened to the Swami reading Autobiography of a Yogi in the car the whole time. And no matter how many times you read that book, no matter how many times you listen to it, it's thrilling. I mean, just as we sat there listening, it was like, every sentence has something in it that will give you a blessing, will give you uplifted consciousness. So to just feel that Master is flowing through you all the time. And I want to share a funny little story about that trip. We had to go pick something up in a big shopping area. And so we were listening to the Autobiography of a Yogi the whole time in the car. And then we walked in the shopping mall, and I looked and I said, oh, look, I thought to myself, there's a big picture of Master on the wall. And then when I got up close, it was a beauty salon, and it was just some model with long dark hair. As we had just been listening to Master, I thought, oh, they have a big poster of Master up in the window. But the more you do that, the more their consciousness is with you. And then finally, and then we'll let Jyotish share, I'm sure he has many wonderful thoughts as well. Just devotion. Devotion to the Guru, faith in the Guru. When times are difficult, you just say, Master, I trust that you know what's best for me. When times are good, you say, thank you, Master, not for the gifts you've given me, but thank you for your constant loving presence in my life. And it's just to always remember, think of the Guru as much as you can. Swami said, when you go for a walk, it's a wonderful practice. Just feel like Master's walking by your side. When you're riding on the bus, just feel like Master's just with you, standing in the aisle, giving someone else his seat, as he would no doubt do. And whatever you do, just try to have an inward remembrance and an inward offering of yourself up to the Guru. And really, the Guru is God come down in a personal way, in a seemingly human way, to guide and by their example to show us how to live in a divine way in this world. The Guru is more than a person, more than a teacher. The Guru is really infinite consciousness. But as we said, I know some of you follow our blog. Once a scientist challenged Master and said, if God is present in all of infinity, how could he possibly care about what's happening to me or you? And Master's answer was wonderful. He said, your concept of infinity is too finite. It's too small. God is as much present in the farthest galaxy as he is in each individual's thoughts. And so that's such a wonderful concept, that Master, God in the form of our Guru, God in the form of any true Guru, knows the thoughts of the disciples, cares about them, has come exclusively to help us find our freedom. No other purpose in life, no other goal, no other desire do these great ones have, but simply to guide their disciples to freedom from all delusion. And the more we can live in constant gratitude for that gift that
Let me just ask, the picture is frozen. Are you hearing us?
We are hearing you. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll try to. It is frozen on our side.
It's okay. So I'm pretty much, that's really what I had to say. So now we'll let Jyotish.
Now, I didn't know whether we were a blank wall here or not.
We tried to reboot.
Okay, now we can see enough. I don't have a whole lot more to say. You know, the real relationship with the Guru, we can talk in a philosophical sense and a cosmic sense about the role of the Guru. But for us, as those who have already chosen a Guru, those who are already working to be in tune with the Guru, it's really just basically a love relationship between us and trying to attune our thoughts, attune our feelings, attune our sense of what we are aspiring for, so that we're reaching out always upward, because the Guru also represents the Kutastha. That's where he resides. And so whenever we think of the Guru, our energy to that center, which ultimately will be the center of freedom. Devi was talking about the ego, and the ego center being the medulla, and how energization teaches us to be aware of the medulla and then send energy from the medulla under the direction of our willpower. But when we learn to send it to the body, then we can also learn to begin to send it to the Kutastha. And when we can direct the energy from the medulla to the Kutastha, that's what leads us to freedom. But that also represents, in the terms today, the direction of the ego to the Guru, and the offering of the ego into the energy of the Guru. And when we do that, the whole of our life changes, because then we not only direct our energy, but we can also feel the subtle love and friendship and guidance of the Guru for us, which is the most important thing. The Guru is really like a sailor out in a foggy sea, finally having a compass and knowing which direction he should sail in. Otherwise, we're just, life offers so many different challenges and choices and ups and downs, and it's just so vague and difficult to navigate properly. But the Guru is our compass, and if we keep our energy trying to please him, trying to connect with him, trying to offer ourselves to him, then ultimately we're guided in the right way. So I don't think that we want to just continue to talk. We want a chance to have for you all to ask questions, and we'd be happy to answer.
Okay.
There you are.
We'll reset the camera if it keeps doing this, so don't worry, we're still with you. Thank you so much for sharing these thoughts, but also for sharing your energy and vibration. It's, we have you so much in our minds and in our hearts, and are always talking about past experiences or future experiences, but to have you in person is really a joy. I wanted to introduce to you some of the new disciples. Can you be on the reboot, just turning it off and on? Yeah, Rajesh can do it. Poor Rajesh is running a few computers at once here.
Okay.
Who is online?
Kopi, Mahendra, Indu, Mary, and Panjanathan.
Okay, and Panchanathan. Okay, so you're being broadcast to the Philippines and to a few people who are trapped in the rain. So,
isn't that amazing that we're able to do that?
And someone in North Carolina, are they?
Oh, I'm sorry, Mahendra.
Yes.
Yes, and North Carolina also. Yes, even to such a foreign place as North Carolina. Can you reboot?
It's not boring.
These are some of the new disciples. This is Gayatri. And
Gayatri?
she just took discipleship recently along with Venkat, who's behind her. And then also Arvind, who you've met before, but he took discipleship just recently. Are we still moving? Can you restart it again? And,
Very good.
And then also Saluja is here. There.
Oh, wonderful.
And then anyone else who I can't see? Okay. So, and also, yes?
Amar.
Yes.
Amar.
Oh, this is Dr. Amar, thank you. And, yeah, come this side. Just so you can, once you appear in the camera, then we know. This is Dr. Amar, and he's taking level 2.
Hello.
So.
Oh, wonderful. Nice to meet you, Dr. Amar.
And finally, who just came in, Vineet is here. You know from having met him before. There, they can see you.
Oh, hello.
Hello. Nice to see you again.
An unexplained miracle that we'll find out. We'll find out later.
I hope we'll see many of you at Babaji's cave, perhaps, or other times. It's only less than 3 weeks before we leave America, and we'll be 1 month in Italy and then go on to India. So we'll be at least on the continent, and I hope physically present with many of you quite soon now.
And, we wanted to, I have it written down here. So we have the 2 weekends at Babaji's Cave at the end of October, beginning November. And I know a number of you are planning to join us on that. It was such an incredible, inspiring time last year. And then at the end of November 27th through 29, we're going to be having what we call spiritual No, it's something, a tradition that Swamiji started in 1968, I believe. Was it the first one or 69?
69.
69. And we have it every year here at Ananda Village. We'll be having it this year, August 9th through 16th. And it's a wonderful week of classes and kirtan, music, theater, just Kriya initiations. We always have a big Indian banquet one evening. So anyway, that will be here. But this custom now in India, we'll start off with just a weekend up in Delhi, November 27 through 29. And then we'll come back to America in December. But then we come back in February, and I don't know how many of you know, but everyone, thank you for coming.
Yes,
you look like you've been in the rain. But we have big plans for Chennai in February and March of 2016. So we're going to be actually spending several weeks in Chennai. February 17th or 18th till March 5th or 6th when we go to the retreat in Bangalore for Master's Mahasamadhi. So this will be a time in Chennai where we'll be doing some big public programs. Maybe we had such a nice reception last spring when we were there, and see if we can have a nice hall again. But more than the big public discourses, we want to have a time to really have small satsangs with all of you, maybe smaller dinners and meals and satsangs in the center. So anyway, we'll be coming for and staying in Chennai for about 2 weeks. So we hope we'll get to be with you all and in a much relaxed way during that time. So do you have any questions you would like to ask us? We've been reading about the passing of the former president, Kalam. He seems like he must have been a very, very fine man, so well respected. So it's very nice that India is able to produce great statesmen who are also very dharmic and compassionate people.
Swamiji met him, and they had a beautiful discussion together, and I think there was a great deal of mutual respect between the two of them.
And then we got a letter from Pavan Kaul, who is the director of the movie The Answer about Swamiji and Kriyanandaji and Master, and we have just been invited. There's going to be a new international spiritual film festival. I believe it's going to be in Calcutta. The woman who's organizing it is from Calcutta, and we've been invited to be a participant in it, which is really wonderful. Usually you have to apply to be accepted in the film festival, but we have been invited, so that's very nice.
The woman organizing it met Swamiji and is very eager to have this film shown there. So, do you have any questions?
I know. Okay, you pull it. Hi.
Hello, how are you?
We haven't seen you for a while.
Oh, nice to see you.
Nice seeing you both. Okay, I have one question. I know that we are all the same regardless of our nationalities, and is there any point in being patriotic, or is it completely pointless because we are all one and the same?
It was a little garbled. Can
What
you?
he's saying is, he said, I know we're all one and the same, but is there any point to being patriotic, or is it meaning to one's own country, or is it pointless because we are all the same?
You know, Master was very strong about the fact that we should be patriotic. And so each of us is born into a country, We live in a country, maybe even if we've immigrated, but that country that we're in supports us in many, many different ways. And Master felt very strongly that we owe our loyalty and patriotism to the country that is supporting us. Obviously, he would not want to support a dharma, but that's different from trying to be supportive to the country that is sustaining us. So all of you being Indians should be patriotic to India, and Devi and I being Indians by adoption, we're patriotic to India also, and we're also patriotic to America, but trying to, in that patriotism, it shouldn't be blind patriotism. It should be patriotism to that which is the higher vibration that each nation has to offer. And India is a beautiful country with wonderful high vibrations. Like all countries, it also has a lot of lower pulls going on that it's fighting against. We don't need to support the downward movement, but we should support that which is noble in the country where we reside, and be patriotic, especially to its higher vibration.
But you know, we don't want to get into a talk about politics per se, but if our patriotism or if our party affiliation within our country is expansive and upward moving, then that's a good thing. But where patriotism and political affiliation are a detriment is when it's downward pulling, when it separates. Well, I don't want to pay more taxes, so I'm going to support this party, or I'm going to my country against that country. So patriotism and political affiliation should be an upward experience, should be elevate your consciousness so that you can understand other people's point of view, so that you can appreciate other cultures and other countries. So there was a saying is, I believe it was Ramakrishna who said this, but I may be wrong. He said, it is a blessing to be born in a religion, but a curse to die in one. Meaning that being a patriot, being religious, or following a certain political idealism, it's a good starting place. But then you have to move towards more of a universal, non-sectarian approach. And so, to be patriot, the true patriotism, as Master was to be a citizen of the world, and to realize that we are all God's children, united on this little bitty planet, such a teeny little dot in the greater scheme of things, and to try to find a way to have a unified vision of humanity.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hello.
A few of us are preparing for our Kriya initiation, which comes in September, and we would like to have your advice of how to prepare for the initiation and the steps which would be helpful for us as we go ahead.
Well, the most important preparation is your daily meditations and the practice of the other techniques, the Hong Saw technique. Obviously, we were talking about energization, and that's a very important part of your preparation to learn and be regular in the practice. So, the energization, Hong Saw, and Om, those are like three legs, and Kriya is the fourth leg of the table on which we reside. And so your meditations are a very important part of the preparation. Obviously, the training that you're getting there at the center is very important, but really the preparation that's most important preparation of two things, I would say. One, your sadhana, and secondly, your discipleship and devotion. When those are both developed, then the guru can come in, because Kriya is a technique, yes, but it's much more than a technique. It's a blessing of the guru and a guru-disciple connection. And so that part of your sadhana, as well as the techniques, both should be developed, and when they're developed and steady, so that you have an established meditation practice that is long enough and deep enough so that you can actually practice the Kriya technique, then you become ripe and ready for the guru to pluck.
And I would also say, if the initiation is in September, that's maybe a month and a half away, 2 months away. I would be very conscientious now in just preparing yourself for this step, because really, if Kriya is done with deep sincerity and focus and concentration, even the initiation itself can be a transformative moment. And so I would, in this time before the initiation, I would try to be very mindful of your habit patterns, the movies you go to see, the conversations you have, the books you read, television, all of those things. And really try to, anything that pulls your vibration away from God, just say, not now, not now, I'll do that later. If there are friends that kind of are worldly minded, that want, whatever, hang out with them, just be polite, but just say, oh, I have another appointment right now. And so just try to, really encircle yourself in a higher vibration. And then if you can, before the initiation, if you can take a day or two, as many days as you can, but to just try to be as much in silence as you can. Try to be quiet. Try to eat very lightly. Try to interiorize your consciousness. Read the autobiography. But the more you can come to the initiation, not kind of frazzled from driving through traffic and, you've been arguing with your boss and, whatever it might be, but just to come in really with a state of deep interiorization, the more powerfully you will be able to receive the blessings. I know a number of my friends, for their first initiation, were able to take a week off before, and then during that week they were in silence and fasting and really inwardly preparing themselves. And they said it was such a remarkable experience. The first word they spoke after a week of silence was to accept the Kriya vow. You'll see in the ceremony that there's a certain words you're supposed to say. And they said it felt so funny to have those words coming out of their mouth after not speaking for a week. So anyway, try to, that's a very high goal, to take a week off and fasting in silence. But do what you can. And certainly avoid downward pulling energy. Don't try to remain harmonious and interiorized and a little bit removed from your daily life in preparation.
Also, Prem is preparing for Kriya. Prem, are you here? Prem is can you come forward? The Prem is along with Purnima.
Oh, nice to see you, Prem.
And a few others as well. Yeah, anyone else is here?
That's wonderful.
Who will give the initiation?
Haridas ji and Roma ji.
Oh, very nice.
Wonderful.
Other questions? Yes, of course you have a question. And this is the place.
Yogananda ji says that man is made in the image of God. Then how is this ego come into being and whose ego is it?
You know, nobody in America would ever ask that question.
Man, that's a complex question, and I'll try to give a relatively simple answer. But man is not only made in the image of God, man is an extension of God. Where ego comes into play is when there is the appearance of separation, even though it is not the reality of separation. And so God, the real image of God that is referred to is the soul. And the soul is the extension of God. It's God in individualized form, but still with the recognition of its unity. But when that recognition of unity gets turned toward the individualization, especially as we come into a body, so the soul, when it identifies with the body, that's ego. And so in one sense, everything is God. And so ego too is God. But in another sense, God is both in limited form and unlimited form. And there's more joy in being in the unlimited form. And so the soul is caught in between these two, either toward limitation or unlimited. And so if it moves toward the limitation, then it emphasizes ego. If it moves away from that, it emphasizes not so much God, because as I say, God is everything, but it emphasizes or regains its knowledge of its unity with God. Hello.
My question is, like when we do meditation, can you hear me?
Yes.
Do meditation. Actually, we get to see the the formless ones, the bright ones. Okay, and sometimes we get to see on a, like something on a movie screen, something happening. Like in continuation of what you have said about limiting the ego, should we necessarily reject what is seen on the screen and just concentrate on the light, or should it just be and let it happen?
I think generally speaking, just let it happen as it's happening and concentrate on whatever you're seeing in meditation. But I say that advisedly because sometimes the subconscious mind can become active and it can produce not completely superconscious visions, but sort of partly subconscious, partly superconscious. And so you can't always trust, if you're seeing like a movie or visions, you can't always know for sure. You have to feel whether those are uplifting you and are seen. True superconsciousness comes with a sense of great clarity and energy and calmness with it, whereas subconscious are a little bit, like dreamy. And so, but having said that, then generally speaking, go with what your consciousness is producing at the time. But then there comes a certain point at which you want to go beyond form into the formless.
Yeah, I would add to that. I think it's, and generally speaking, I think it's more consistently uplifting to just focus on the light that one sees. And then, of course, if there's a clear and vivid image of your guru or one of the great forms of God, then that's different. But by and large, it's easy to, as Jyotish was saying, to get into subconscious awareness. So I think it's better to just focus, try to see the spiritual eye as has been described, the golden halo around the blue field with the 5-pointed white star, or just to feel, concentrate on energy, awakening at the spiritual eye. And I think this is more the techniques that Master gave us. So your name is Gayatri?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've always wondered how magnetism and spirituality are connected, because not all people who are magnetic are spiritual, or vice versa. You know, some people are
That's
just
a good-
magnetic, but they may not be necessarily spiritual. But some are spiritual, but they may not have that magnetism. Are we born with it, or how does it?
Well, I'll start and then Jyotish can add. Magnetism is energy directed outward. And so magnetism depends on the quality of our own consciousness. You can have great negative magnetism. A good example in history is Adolf Hitler, who had tremendous magnetism to kind of mobilize the entire country, but it was in a very dark way. And you look at, Bollywood movie stars, and they have a certain amount of magnetism, but it's worldly magnetism. But then you look at, the image of Gandhi, yeah, great magnetism, but that was purified magnetism, because his was directed towards a higher goal, towards a higher purpose. So yes, there are many types of magnetism, and Master talked about magnetism a great deal. He said magnetism, a stronger magnet, or source of magnetism, will overcome a weaker source of magnetism. So that's why, to use the example of Germany, there were obviously many good people in Germany, but Hitler's stronger negative magnetism sucked them into that negative flow. So a stronger positive magnetism, like Gandhi had, could mobilize a whole nation to bring about India's independence. And so there are different kinds of magnetism, depending on the quality of a person's consciousness and how able they are to direct that energy in any direction. You think of very successful businessmen. They have a lot of magnetism to start a new, big industry or products or businesses, but it's not necessarily spiritual magnetism. So I think for the devotee, the main thing that we need to do is to be aware of awakening the energy within the subtle spine, the kundalini, and then with the force of our willpower, bringing it up to the spiritual eye. And then in everything we do, try to be mindful of putting out positive magnetism in our speech, in our the way we relate to other people, the way we think, the way we go about our daily business, to put out positive magnetism. And the more we do that, we get into a current of a positive flow that augments our magnetism.
Yeah, as Devi was saying, really there are two aspects to magnetism. One is quantity and the other is quality. And quantity, there are two rules that Master, or laws that Master said. He said the greater the will, the greater the flow of energy. And he defined will as desire plus energy directed toward a goal. And so will or willingness is that you want something and you put energy in toward that. And so that the stronger that is, the stronger the flow of energy. And the stronger the flow of energy, the stronger the magnetic field that it has. So in that sense, you could say the quantity of magnetism is dependent on desire, conviction, faith, knowledge that what you're doing is you're putting your entire energy into it. But then, as Devi said, that can be positive or negative. You know, someone like Hitler believed in what he was doing with a great deal of energy, but it was negatively directed. So we need to put strong will into whatever we're doing, but we should always try to ask ourselves, is this for my own higher good? And is it for the good of other people? And if we can answer yes to both of those, then the stronger the energy, the stronger our magnetism will be. Hello, Venkat. Namaste.
I'm in a group, started the process of preparing for Priya, preparing the annual meeting. We have been asked to wait till March next year for that
Which will be given by you both, by the way.
That's wonderful. But in one of the answers you mentioned, first initiation, does it mean there are more than one initiations?
There's the basic initiation, which we call the initiation, the first initiation. There are actually 4 different initiations that we give, but the first one is the most important, and the others are variations of that first one. And so what we ask is that a person receive the first initiation and then practice that for usually several years, at least a couple of years, so that initiation is they're doing it well and with deep concentration and properly, and that they have gradually built up their sadhana and their nervous system through the practice of that first initiation. And then after the timing is right, and just to let you know, Swami did not give the second initiation at Ananda for 12 years. So it's not like, oh, I've been practicing 6 months, so now I need the second initiation. You really need to be prepared. And so once the timing is right, then we will also offer the second and third initiation, and second, third, and fourth. There are 4 altogether.
And remember, quality is more important than quantity. So,
I'll remember that. Thank you.
Okay.
You know, before we forget, we had a lovely Skype call with many of you, not all of you, earlier this summer. And Dharmarajan and Dharmini gave us that beautiful little Gopal, that present that you sent over. And I believe Dharmarajan showed you the picture of it, that we have it in our meditation room. But we just want to thank you. We've gotten so much inspiration and joy from that gift. It's just beautiful. It's really like, it feels like little Gopal is in our meditation room. So thank you again for that lovely gift.
Not only is he in the meditation room, but he's placed on the wall in such a way, he's bent over kind of like this, as if, aren't you going to come in? Aren't you going? So we can hardly pass that without Gopal inviting us into the meditation room. So it's a perfect spiritual gift. We thank you so much for that.
Thank you so much for being with us today. It's really so uplifting and so nice to be able to connect so personally and, just across space and time like this. Just before we let you go, if we could we'll have one group photo as is our tradition with the you guys just stay with us.
Right.
And then everybody
Okay.
around the TV, okay? Okay, well, thank you we know it's late for you all. We know it's late for you all and for you both. And thank you again. It's a real joy.
Thank you. It's so nice that we're able to do this. It's not as good as being there in person, but it's much better than having our hearts miss you too much over too long of a period.
Ilanga, how's your daughter doing?
Good, excellent. Thank you.
Good. Give her our regards.
Yes, give her our regards.
And of course, you remember Sharmila from visits.
Of
I
course.
know he never remembers her.
She's one of the groupies.
So nice, dear.
Okay.
Okay, God bless you all.
God bless you all. Namaste.